excited about our topic today. But before I get to that, let me congratulate everybody who's had their best month so far, personal best. I saw some good news on the line that I wanted to highlight. If you didn't get the email, Yana, I spoke to her yesterday and her team. She had her personal best month at over 60,000. That's cool. Chenda, I've got him down for 80K. And so we've had some outstanding performances. I also had written down, let's see, Yora, 77,000. Not bad, kids. Some of you are like, grr, I wish I could do that. And you can. Some of you are like, curses, why are they good? Well, we're going to figure that out together today. We'll move closer to that. Who else? Let's see. Rivas hit 20K as a first year. And Aaron in Calgary, 52K as a first year. So I'd say that's pretty good, you know? Booking Buddies, Levi, 14,000. Gabe broke 10, almost 11,000. And is it Karine Alvarez? Did I get that right? Over 10,000. And top EAs, Irvin at 40K, Mara at 33, and Noemi, I'm really sorry. I haven't heard your name yet, so I pronounced it all three ways that I would pronounce it. So there you go. That's the best I can do. Okay, let me get to my notes and dive in. So good things are happening. Hey, you know what else? I would like to win one of these cool bracelets. Wouldn't you? Those are sweet. And I would go with the black on black, you know. And I am certainly full of tradition, service, innovation, and determination. So I'm going to lobby to get one of those sometime. But do that. That's really cool. Super stylish. Goes with your suits. And have your best month to do that. Okay. All right. Last week we spoke, if you were on board, about belief. And we talked more about the mind gym, your mental gym that you could go to and create an environment for you to excel. So we're going to talk about not just belief, we're going to talk about how to create a mind gym, because I'm wondering if people are thinking, gosh, what does that exactly mean? How do you do that? What would it look like? So to set that up, if your head is preventing you from becoming a winner, a champion at LGFG, this will help you today. If you've ever had a sales slump, has anybody had that before? Slump, you know, where you're like, not so good. It happens. Or you choke at the wrong time, or you start thinking about making calls and getting in the right state of mind and you get psyched out, or your emotions run away, you get negative, or you're experiencing sometimes a lack of confidence. Or sometimes, I don't know, have you ever known what to say, but then you kind of blew it and didn't say the right thing at the right time? Yes. So this has much to do with your mind, and that's where we're still exploring. If you recall the little visual I sent you in the email last week, or Mom emailed on my behalf, that one of the big images said, we choose the way we think. We choose the way we think. And people change only when they believe it's in their best interest to do that. So I know last week I was talking about athletes. My little book on Mind Gym is about athletic success. So I do bring that up from time to time. But Bobby Jones was a great golfer back in the day. And he said, golf is a game that is played on a 5-inch course. Golf is a game that is played on a 5-inch course. And that's the distance between your ears. This is the course. I would say sales is a game that is played on a 5-inch course, the distance between your ears. So if you're looking for a title for today, some of you are like, wait a minute, what's the title? The title is Between the Ears. Between the Ears, colon, and there's a subtitle, Building Your Own Mind Gym. Building your own mind gym. Some of you who have been watching the World Cup, if you've had time, very exciting. I am not a huge soccer fan, but it's cool to see nations pitting themselves against each other and going crazy. And I remember a few years back, we had a great U.S. women's team in soccer or football, whatever you like to call it. And she said, and Mia Hamm, if you remember Mia Hamm, She was the captain of the U.S. women's team. She was the one that, when they won the victory, she went running across the field and then tore off her jersey. Yeah, all the guys like, yeah, I remember her now. Well, she said this, the most important attribute a player must have is mental toughness. And that's what you get in your mind gym. That's the most important attribute you've got to have. So the power of visualization and mental rehearsal has been demonstrated in all kinds of studies. I'll highlight one or two. If you were to, and this has been replicated so many times, if you take 20 athletes or salespeople with equal ability and 10 receive mental training, okay, they will outperform the 10 who received no mental training every time. They did an experiment with the U.S. Olympic ski team a few years back. They divided them into two groups. They were equally matched with ski racing ability, and one group did imagery training. Imagery training, in other words, visualization, mind gym work. The other was just a control group. So the coach noticed that after a very short period, the skiers who were practicing, rehearsing in their mind how they wanted to ski and how they wanted to improve and how they wanted to make crisper cutbacks and turns and skiing faster, they were improving much more rapidly than those who were just doing the physical aspect. So he immediately canceled the experiment and made the whole team do the mental training. So today, let's talk about, I've got 5 steps to create your own mind gym. And this can be really fun if you take it to heart and get creative. But this is your imaginary retreat where you can reflect and you can prepare for a great week or month, okay, or year. So how many of you have ever played with Legos? I hate Legos. My kids had Legos, and I've always walked through the room at night and stomped on them. And man, those things, they are unforgiving. But Legos are just physical constructions, and they're cool, I guess, because you can make all kinds of different shapes, sizes. You know, there's a whole Star Wars series. But that's the physical side. You can actually create in your mind what kind of your own little Lego land, as it were, in terms of selling and leadership. So that's what I want to encourage you to do. And there's 5 things I think you need to do to work toward that. So number 1, this is the easiest part. You need to decide it's important to have a mind gym. Decide it's important. Because some of the teams I talk to, you know, it's like I know that people just show up to work and they're serious about it and they want to do well, but they just kind of like clock in and go, okay, here I am. Let's start making calls. Woohoo! And after day of that, there's no target to hit. There's nothing to really motivate you. You're not creating a picture of yourself that you're trying to move towards. You're just going through the motions. So the first thing, number 1, you got to decide it's important for you to create this mental rehearsal area. All right, number 2, when should I do my mental workouts? That's the next question. When should I do my mental workouts? And I'll give you a couple examples from people I talk to. I know because I talked to Yana and the Australian group and now Chenda the day before I talked to you guys. I know that Yana takes at least 15 minutes before the day begins and goes through a very serious regimen or routine, and it's in the mornings typically, okay? It's not the same for everybody. You might want to do your mind gym. You might decide that nighttime is the best for you because the day's behind you. You can take a few minutes and reflect. You have to decide when and how long your mind gym exercise will last. I know that it helped Emby a while back when I was coaching her. She took time to kind of think and reflect on Sundays because the week was done, and she said, okay, I'm going to get by myself, have some coffee, blank piece of paper, and just start thinking about what kind of week or what kind of month I want to have. So it was different for her. She thought about Sundays. So decide it's important. When am I going to do this? And how long do I want it to last? It's not like you have to take hours and hours to go through this visualization process. It can be really quick. All right, number 3. Third thing, get creative when you build your mind gym. Get creative. Use your imagination. All of us have fertile imaginations, and we move toward pictures mentally. I'll give you an example. There was a pro baseball player and a Major League Baseball player who really improved. He became an all-star, but he wasn't always a champion, okay? He designed an elaborate mental studio in his mind. This was all in his mind. And it had cool components. It had what he called his energy machine. And when he flipped on that, when he closed his eyes and he went into that little mental rehearsal, he had this energy machine that he could turn on, and it would flash positive affirmations at him in different colors, which is kind of cool. So he had this visual going. And around him, he had a surround sound, 9.1 surround sound system, like state-of-the-art sound system, so he could hear what he wanted to hear. He could hear those affirmations. He could hear the crowd cheering. And then as he closed his eyes, in his mind's eye, he could look up at the ceiling, and he had this massive plasma, big screen TV where he would watch the highlight tapes of his greatest days, his greatest moments mounted on a big screen TV. It's all in his head, see? So you can really, if you mentally do this and it's vivid enough, your mind cannot tell the difference between something that's real and something that's vividly imagined, okay? You must remember that. Your brain can't tell the difference between something that's that's reality and something that you vividly imagine. So important for you to customize your own mental process. And I'm going to go through a PowerPoint, I think next week or the week after, where I'm going to describe what Pele, if you guys remember Pele, the great soccer player from days gone by, how he went through into his mental rehearsal before his greatest games. And I'll tell you how he did that. It's really simple. This isn't rocket science. When I spoke to, who was it? Jorgen, a while back when we were coaching, we were doing our coaching. He told me that when he thinks, when he ponders, when he pictures, then he wins. And what his system was this. He would get into the office and go into the boardroom when no one was there. He would get there early when no one was there, and then he would spend time writing. Okay, so in the act of writing, that created pictures in his mind. And once he took time to do that, things went well. He said it gave him clarity when he was visualizing. Okay, so that was his version of the mind gym. Okay, so the big assignment coming out of today, I'll give it now and then again at the end, is I want you to create your own mental gym. Okay, and I want you to talk about it with your office mates. Like, well, what have you got in yours? And oh man, I might install one of those. But it's going to be different for everybody. Some of you are more visual than others. Some of you are more auditory. Some of you are kinesthetic. You like touch. So that's going to be important to build in different things that help you get a real clear picture of what you want to happen. Okay, so number 3 is build it out. It doesn't cost much, just a few minutes to be creative. You don't have any contractors showing up, so it's kind of nice. Number 4, the 4th step is when you have this built out and you're ready to go, you need to get to a quiet place without distractions to do this. You have to get to a quiet place, okay? Because this is when you want to get focused, you want to get centered before you check your email and before you start getting notifications, before you start having things going off and like, oh my gosh, I got to call her back and before all that happens, it's great to get to a quiet place. So that's step 4. And step 5, the last step, is actually doing it. Mentally rehearse what you want to happen. So write that down. Mentally rehearse for a few minutes what you want to happen. Think big. See yourself winning. So you're like, well, what do I picture? Well, picture what a perfect day would be like, or a perfect week. What would it look like for you? If you take 5 to 10 minutes of thinking through, maybe you close your eyes, maybe you don't, I don't know. Take 5 or 10 minutes. Think about, becoming an EA, or you picture yourself growing as a leader and getting the call or the email from Dimitri saying, you know what, you've made partner. That might be something that motivates you. Okay, so visualize that. What would that be like? And if you can associate feelings with the pictures, it becomes twice as powerful. If all of you right now, if I said, okay, close your eyes and I want you to think about your best day ever, when everything worked and it clicked and people bought and folks that you didn't even expect to get an appointment and sit down with them. They said, come on in. I mean, it was just does anybody have a day like that where everything just worked and you were floating and people are going, yeah, here's a card. Oh, here's a friend. Come over here. He has a card too. Everything was clicking. That's those are the images you want to create, that you at your best, just like the baseball player looking at the ceiling and seeing himself, seeing highlights, his highlight reel. Okay. You can also, I would recommend that you decorate your workspace and put up your affirmations if they're not too personal, like put them on the wall. You know, I can, I will, I'm going to have the best day ever, whatever that might be. Okay. So that's how you do the work mentally. So I know that everybody's working hard, making the calls, trying to get the right tone, being in the right state of mind, bouncing back, being resilient. I know that that's a big part of the job, but I want to make sure that you start before you ever jump into that fray, that you take time to mentally rehearse what you want to happen. Okay. And be sure, I told the guys, Gabe and his team, to get support materials up, because as I looked in the background of their office and I saw some of their workstations, there wasn't stuff up that they could see and picture and to help motivate them. There weren't, like, it was just kind of barren in my world. So I would say get some support materials up. I know Gitas, a while back, had his goals up that were all outlined. He did the math. He had pictures of what he wanted to acquire. Those were up. So those are good little support things. And those things need to be changed. If you put up motivational quotes to kind of like, oh, this one motivates me, you can't leave them up for a year and a half because they get stale and kind of wrinkled and old in the sunlight. So you have to kind of rotate some of those positive phrases and stuff. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. 4 people nodded their heads. This is a good call. So decorate some stuff. I was with Barry Scholes a while back. I was his manager back in the day at Southwestern, and Barry had set a goal to recruit 20 people, which was kind of a big deal when you work there. And so he said, okay, my team goal is to recruit 20, and I want to do X thousand units. Well, what he started to do was he didn't just, wake up in the morning and go, okay, I really hope I can hit my goal. He had all kinds of visual support materials everywhere. On his ceiling, he had the big 20 on a poster, okay, and their production. Above the mirror where he shaved, he had some positive phrases, and he had 20. 20 was just everywhere, so that was kind of a big deal. And he hit his goal, and the team did well. So I'm trying to give you evidence. So do that. Decorate your work area. It works. Okay, let me skip some stuff because this is boring. Let me give you one more quote that I like, and this is from another Olympian. If you're like, man, I'm so sick of sports, why can't you talk about anything else? Sales and sports are so intertwined, it's unbelievable. The psychology of sports and the psychology of selling are almost, they're the same thing. So I'm going to defer to that a lot. But one Olympian said this. So listen. She said, mental toughness is the discipline to do the right things all the time, even when no one's watching. Okay? Think about that. And this is a long quote, so don't try to write it down. You could try, but whatever. Mental toughness is the discipline to do the right things all the time, even when no one's watching. She said it's having the focus to keep your goals always in sight, no matter the obstacles. And she said it's managing your emotions through difficult times and holding yourself accountable when you mess up. Okay? So you're not waiting for anybody to come down on you or to correct you or manage you in any way. It's up to you. Now, this is the part I like best. And I've got the dogs in the room, so if they start barking, I've got a plumber here. Just roll with it. Here's what she said that I really liked. The biggest problem in mental toughness development is people don't realize it has to be worked on every day. She says, I've got to do this every day to be a champion. People may think they have it mastered, but in reality, that's when they need it the most. And okay, write this one down because this is the next sentence. She said, it's like confidence. It's hard to get and easy to lose. Isn't that true? Confidence is hard to get, but it's easy to lose. And you cannot be mentally tough overnight, but it takes hard work, dedication, and discipline. So there you go. And just, she said afterwards, she said, it's a step-by-step process that has to be trained each and every day in order to be successful. Pregnant pause. Okay, I wanted that to sink in. So I've given you 5 steps, and this is an easy assignment, but if you think about it, maybe you would want to sketch it out on paper. I don't know. Create your own mind gym. Decide it's important. When are you going to do this? Where are you going to do it? Get creative in building it out. Share ideas with each other to see if you can come up with the most elaborate, imaginative space. And then get to a quiet place and then do the work mentally. Do the work mentally. And then share some successes. Let each other know, you know what? This is what I'm thinking about. This is what I'm working on mentally. And then when it happens in terms of production or how you're growing personally, then you can go, hey, check it out. Check me out. That's a good thing. All right. So we're going to work on increasing your level of mental toughness. That's one of our big goals. And my question to you is, what are you going to do today or tomorrow when you start, if you're starting another day tomorrow, to build a championship mindset? What are you going to do to build a championship mindset? How will you leverage your psychology to create greater value for you and for your clients? That's big. Okay? So food for thought. I'll post some of this in our recording that I send out, maybe a couple of these quotes that are a little longer. But I encourage you to do the assignment and to go the extra mile and create this mental rehearsal area and to engage. Okay? And if you're working all day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just on the phone with my headset all day, I'm supposed to make 10,000 calls. We're going to talk about breaks and distractions on another call, but it's probably good every 40 minutes to take a short break, walk around just for a couple minutes, clear your head, and boy, you could do some mental rehearsal then too. So it doesn't have to be just at one time in the day. This can be very flexible. All right, enough of me. Any comments from you? Any thoughts? Any of you do anything like this before in sports or LGFG wise that really caused you saw a difference? Because yeah, some of you can comment if you like. Yeah, Rivas, talk to us.
We did a similar exercise with Eustace. He asked to visualize our goals and write down not just like the goals itself, but how you feel when you reach that point or reach that goal. And I did it before the December holidays. And after doing that, I reached my goals in floating, and I got that won the competition of suits. So it works.
Nice. Okay, look, a testimonial. That's good. We like testimonials. Thank you for that. Anybody else? I mean, how many of you have played sports? Or sport? I think the Europeans call it sport. Yeah, there's only one sport, evidently. But if you if you played sport, you do this as you train, don't you? I mean, you picture what you want to happen. And whether it's a hockey game with Dimitri, he pictures making those incredible saves, you know, speed, quickness. If you're in track, you stretch physically, you stretch before you engage in the race. Well, this is what I'm saying we need to do in selling. I'm not saying you need to, you know, get down and do yoga right before you start making calls, but you need to mentally get stretched out, get relaxed, and picture what you want to happen. Okay, more on this later. Thank you for tuning in. Mamik, thanks for recording, and we'll try to do this again next week. And I think I'm going to be posting some pictures of my daughter's wedding on Facebook. I know lots of you have been waiting for those pictures, so I will do fine. I got some back. I'll get those posted. And I wanted to let you know as you hang up that I cried like a baby during the wedding. So it was I was very out of control. So thank you so much. Yeah, Dad. Woo. All right, I'm hanging up.